The city of Frisco has a brand new community garden called The Harvest at Frisco Commons. And today, Shades of Green is going to be planting our box.
Hey guys, I'm Jarrett and welcome to the Shades of Green Show.
And I'm Tim, and we brought with us today a nice selection of native and adaptive perennials that we're going to plant in our bed because they will flower and attract beneficial pollinators to the garden, which is going to increase the crop yields of all the other boxes around us. But first, we've got to amend the soil. Jarrett, tell us a little bit more.
Today we are out at The Harvest, which is Frisco's new community garden where residents and people alike can lease these boxes. We actually leased a 4-foot by 20-foot box. They come prepared with some soil, but like anytime you're prepping with some soil, you do want to amend the soil, and so we're going to plant up our box today, and we're going to amend it with some of our favorite Burr compost. We got a couple bags of this, and when we plant our plants, we're actually going to use our Biotone Starter Plus, which is going to be great amendment in the hole you dig. That's going to be a really great root stimulator. So we're excited to get this thing rolling.
Okay, we've amended our bed. What we did is we laid down a layer of Biotone Starter Plus from Espoma. This is an organic, slow-release fertilizer, but it's got more beneficial bacteria in it to really help kickstart the soil. This had a pretty good base of soil in it, but we knew that it didn't have a lot of life in it, and we know that because there's no plants in it. You have to have plants in your soil because the colonies of beneficial fungi and bacteria form around the root zone. So when you have a bed with no flowers in it, no plants at all, you don't have a lot of microbial activity, and you need that for good, healthy plants. So we put down our Biotone, we came back and added a layer about 2 or 3 inches of Burr compost. Compost of any kind is fantastic for your soil. It's going to add organic matter to it. It's going to fill it with some micronutrients. Wonderful way to get everything going for a good, healthy start. We've laid out our plants, and as you can see, it might look a bit sparse, but what you've got to remember is what is the mature size of these plants? And if you pack them in too close, you will regret it in about 3 years. Now, Jarrett's going to tell you a little bit more about some of these plants in just a minute, but I will tell you that we have 5 of these 9 different species are edible. Why not put those in a garden? But we're planting them mainly because most of them are, a lot of them are native Texas plants. The others are very well adapted. They're going to attract pollinators and beneficial bugs to our garden. So we've spaced everything out accordingly as to the mature size of the plant. All we got to do now is dig the hole. And when we dig our hole and pull the plants out, we're going to drop a little bit more Biotone in the bottom of the hole to make sure there's some fertilizer getting to those roots.
Well guys, the beds have been amended, planted, mulched, and watered, and we are done. I want to give you a few tips about what we planted here because we took a unique approach. We did all of our native adaptive perennials that we sell in the nursery in hopes that this bed will be a pollinator paradise and bring in all those beautiful pollinators that we need to pollinate all your veggies out here so you have a better crop production. And I want to give you a quick highlight, just a snippet about each of them. If you want more details, click the link below. Tim has a blog post that goes into a lot of detail about these plants. And we kind of planned it to go shorter on the outsides and it goes taller in the middle. And so we started here with Society Garlic. This is a beautiful plant that does have a fragrance to it. Some people don't like it. I think it's kind of good. It smells like garlic, but has these beautiful lavender blooms on it that'll be kind of on the ends, followed by catmint. This is going to be very drought tolerant, more of a mounding plant. It'll spread about 3 feet if it's happy, and it'll get this whole space with these blooms on it. Next up, purple coneflower, the probably most famous native perennial we sell. People love it. It has these beautiful leaves and these beautiful petals. The petals are actually edible, like Tim mentioned, and it's going to reseed really well. So hopefully you get a few more coneflowers popping up next season. Next up, we have the plant that's blooming right now, Mexican mint marigold. This is a great fall blooming plant for your garden to feed those pollinators all 3 seasons. This one's going to feed them in fall. Also, the leaves, they smell just like licorice, so it can be a cooking alternative in your kitchen if you don't have any French tarragon. Try the Mexican mint marigold. And then now we're at the middle of the garden, which is our tallest plant. This is flame leaf acanthus. This is going to be a true summer bloomer, and it's true orange. I'm from Salina, that's where I went to high school. It's bobcat orange, okay? But this is going to be 4 feet by 4 feet, so we gave it plenty of space here. And like its nickname, the hummingbird bush, it'll be covered with hummingbirds. I say this is, nature knows its own recipe, so a hummingbird feeder with that red dye stuff is like ramen noodles to a hummingbird. This is like a steak dinner. They love it, and they'll be all over it. And next, moving down, we're kind of tinkering back down toward the end. This is black-eyed Susan. It's going to be a beautiful yellow blooming plant. As it ages, it's just going to be covered with blooms about 2 to 3 feet tall in this area. Next to that, the yellow, we're gonna have this beautiful paprika yarrow. It has beautiful fern-like foliage. The blooms are gonna be red, and they're almost like a big cluster of tiny blooms. It's like a landing pad for all those butterflies to come and land on, eat some nectar, and fly on their way. And we're tinkering down a little more to Gara. It's gonna have a low leaf on the bottom, and the blooms are gonna come up on a stalk. This is a really dark magenta bloom that's gonna go down the stalk and look like butterflies hovering all over it in the wind. And finally wrapping up with chocolate daisy, one of Tim's favorites. This is a great plant that, you know, the foliage is something, but it's not super attractive. The thing that's awesome about this plant is the blooms that come up smell just like chocolate. It's crazy, they do. And so if you ever come by here at the harvest, the new Frisco Community Garden, take a whiff of some of the plants here and see if you get your senses going. But we're watered. All these plants are native, adapted, drought tolerant, and low maintenance. So that means next summer, after these have been established for about 7 to 8 months, we're not gonna have to worry about them that much. And that's exactly why we wanna plant some low maintenance perennials in your garden. So if you're ever in the area, playing at the playground, come walk through the harvest. It's an amazing setup they have here. Come take a look at our garden. We'll have a QR code here so you can click the link and see what all the details are about all these perennials. So this took less than an hour. If you want some more information about the harvest, check the link below as well. But we're wrapped up here. I'm Jarrett with the Shades of Green Show. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.